Olmec world, and I hadn't seen this monument before I saw it in person. Because you go in the Olmec the Olmec realm or the region in Mexico, and you go to these museums and you look at the log or the ledger that people have been on. And nobody has visited this museum in the last 4 months, and before that it was 6 months before that. And these monuments just kind of sit underneath these metal roofs, to protect them from the rain. It's like this completely lost civilization.
Is there an image of this that's available online?
Yeah. There we go. So if you pull up an Olmec head, you'll see that these guys are very different looking, and especially if you can get look at okay, so that's so that's a regular Olmec head. So you can see that these are two different races of people. The Olmecs have very soft features, round faces, big eyes, big lips, kind of big noses. They have very soft features. And this El Negro monument has these high cheekbones, this defined jawline, this intense.
But isn't there a lot of variety just in, like, let's just say Italians? There's a lot of variety.
Absolutely.
So couldn't this just be someone who's on a spectrum of features? I don't think it's that much different than
You don't think so? Well,
no, when I'm looking at it, I could imagine, like, there's, like I said, it was just, my nationality, Italian. So there's Italians with very thin faces, and there's these big, thick ones, and people vary quite a bit. There's enough similarities that I could say, those could be the same people.
Well, the only counter I give to that is when you visit the Olmec realm, you see a lot more than just the heads. You see a lot of Olmec faces, dozens and dozens and dozens of them, maybe well over 100. And when you've seen them all, and you kind of get a gist of like the way they generally look, this guy will really stand out. Like I took a group of students there, and we all, as soon as we all came in and saw it, based on everything we'd been seeing for the past week, it immediately stood out to us.
Well, certainly the thick brow is unique.
Well,
all the other Olmec are wearing helmets.
And that hair as well. It's kind of that curly hair, and or at least it looks like it to me. And so anyways, he could be Olmec. I don't, my identity is not tied up in what I think this is or is
also,
not.
Olmec could be African, like very, very clearly. Like that one on the left easily can be an African man.
Which one? This guy right here?
This one, the one next to the white one, to the left of that, to the left, right there. It easily could be an African man.
It certainly does look that way, but I was on a plane to Mexico a couple months ago, and I was going into the Olmec realm, and I was like, I wanted to take a picture of this guy, and looked to the left of me, and he was an Olmec man sitting next to me, and he didn't look like any Mexican I've ever seen. There's something there with the DNA of the Olmec people that is definitely connected with something else that you don't see if you go to the Maya realm, that you don't see if you go to like Mexico City. They have something in their DNA. They have this very specific look about them. I don't know exactly what it is, but I'm like looking, and I'm like, this is Olmec guy next to me.
So fascinating, because it clearly would have been African explorers that made it.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. Could we look up, look up the travel. This is really, really fascinating. So let's diagnose this. All right, so flags. Flags are invented, this is a very unknown fact. Flags are invented, or the first place that we have evidence for it is along the Nile Valley, on these pre-dynastic pots, which they're not the stone vases, but just like clay pottery. They would make little paintings on them, and people had these river boats that had these flags on them, and the flags would say what city you had come from or what village you had come from. And so flags are an old world thing. We don't have any evidence of flags in the New World. All right, he's also wearing a turban. He's got this big turban that's draping off the back of his head, and he very clearly has this distinct beard that's popping out. Now, Native Americans, sometimes they can, they're Asiatic. They have Asian DNA, and Asians don't really grow typically. Sometimes they'll grow the little stash and a little bit of a beard here, but they don't have that big thick beard that you would see, like in Europe or along the Mediterranean and the Middle East. And so this guy has this big thick beard, and then he's got boots on his feet as well. And we think that these are these glyphs that you see to his left and right. These are really, really early Olmec glyphs, and they interpret that foot to the left as saying that he came from somewhere. He was a traveler. And so the thought here is, so this is around 900 BC, give or take a little bit. They really have no idea when these are made. Like, you go to all the monuments and it says made somewhere between 1500 BC and 400 BC. And they'll say 1500 BC and 400 BC. And so they really are uncertain about how old a lot of these monuments are.
Make it big again, Jimmy, please.
But if we shoot for dead center 900 BC, the Phoenicians out of the Mediterranean are launching these sailing expeditions around the coast of Africa. These are the ancient world's greatest sailors that we know of, and so there were like experimental archaeological or scientific expeditions done that show if you would send one of these early Iron Age boats, or if you send any ship out of the gates of Hercules or the Strait of Gibraltar, and you send it out into the Atlantic, and it drifts just a little bit too far without turning south along the African coast, it will be carried by a current across the Atlantic Ocean down into the Bahamas, the Caribbean, and straight into the Gulf of Mexico. And if that had happened, if people who had looked like they're in the old world, like this guy, if that had happened, somebody from the old world, the largest civilization at the time, the empire in this area, would have been the Olmecs. And the reason I feel so strongly about that is because we do not have flags, turbans, or boots in the ancient Americas. This guy looks nothing like a Native American, and the flag, turban, and boots are all old world features.
You know what's fascinating to me too? The image on the lower right of the bird's head looks very similar to the carvings on Göbekli Tepe.
Doesn't it?
Yes,
Doesn't it?
Very. The curve of the beak, that's
yes.
not how birds' beaks look. Like, that's a very distinct style of artwork.
Well, and it's
See if you can find the images of the birds from Göbekli Tepe.
It's this raised relief art style. So people talk about it a lot with Göbekli Tepe. I mean, think about this. This is 11,600 years ago, and you have artisans and stonemasons who have been practicing for so long that now they're able to take a blank piece of stone and carve the face off to reveal the artwork from underneath it. Not carve the artwork into the stone, but carve the stone away and reveal this sculpture from underneath. How similar does that look? It's bizarre, right?
Real similar.
And so it's the exact same kind of art style that you see in the Olmec realm.
Exactly, the 3D stone carvings. Instead of carving it directly into the stone, carve the stone around it. They're both doing the same thing. That takes a lot of time.
I mean, a
lot more effort.
Could you imagine?
Weird stuff. It's also like the idea that this is documenting time. That the handbags or whatever those things are, what it actually is the sun going over the earth.